Classification of child and youth welfare agencies. The first is child caring institution. It is defined as one that provides 24-hour resident group care service for the physical, mental, social, and spiritual well-being of 9 or more mentally gifted, dependent, abandoned, neglected, handicapped, or disturbed children or youthful offenders. Next is the educational institution, one whose primary purpose is education. It is deemed to be a child-caring institution when 9 or more of its pupils or wards in ordinary course of events do not return annually to the homes of their parents, guardians, for at least 2 months of summer vacation. Next is detention home, a 24-hour child caring institution providing short-term resident care for youthful offenders who are awaiting court disposition of their cases or transfer to the other agencies or jurisdiction. Next is the shelter care institution, one that provides temporary protection and care to the children requiring emergency reception as a result of fortuitous events, abandonment by parents, dangerous conditions, and neglect or cruelty in the home, being without adult care because of crisis in the family and or a court order holding them as material witnesses. Next is the receiving home, a family type home which provides temporary shelter from 10 to 20 days for children who shall during this period be under observation and study for eventual placement by the Department of Social Welfare. The next is the nursery, a child caring institution that provides care for 6 or more children below 6 years of age for all parts of a 24-hour day, except those duly licensed to offer primary medical and educational service. Maternity home, an institution or place of residence whose primary function is to give shelter and care to pregnant women and their infants before, during, and after delivery. Rehabilitation center, an institution that receives and rehabilitates youthful offenders or other disturbed children. Reception and study center, an institution that receives for study, diagnosis, and temporary treatment for children who have behavior problems for the purpose of determining the appropriate care for them to recommending their permanent treatment or rehabilitation in other child welfare agencies. Child placement agency, an institution or person assuming the care, custody, protection, and maintenance of children from placement in any child care institution or home or under the care and the custody of any person that purposes of adoption, guardianship, or foster care, and the relatives of such child or children within the sixth degree of consanguinity or affinity and excluded from his definition. Special categories of children. First one is dependent child, one who is without a parent, guardian, or custodian, or one whose parents, guardian, or other custodian from good cause desires to be relieved of his care and custody, and is dependent upon the public for support. Abandoned child, one who has a proper parental care or guardianship, or whose parents or guardians have deserted him for a period of at least 6 continuous months. Neglected child, one whose basic needs have been deliberately unattended or inadequately attended. Neglect may occur in 2 ways. The first one is the physical neglect. When the child is malnourished, ill-clad, and without proper shelter, a child is unattended when left by himself without provisions for his needs and or without proper supervision. Emotional neglect. When child are maltreated, raped, or seduced, when children are exploited or overworked or made to work under conditions not conducted to good health or are made to beg in the street or public places, or when the children are in moral danger or exposed to gambling, prostitution, and other vices. Mentally retarded children. It is defined as this social inadequate, occupationally incompetent, and unable to manage their own affairs, such as mentally subnormal, retarded intellectual from birth or early age, retarded or at maturity, mentally deficient as a result of constitutional origin through hereditary or disease, and essentially incurable. Mental retardation is classified as a custodial group. They are the least capable group, severely or profoundly retarded with IQs 1 to 25. The next is the trainable group. They are unable to acquire higher academic skills but can usually acquire the basic skill for living to a reasonable degree. Their IQ range from about 20 to 50. Next is the educable group. The degree of success or accomplishment that they will reach in life depends very much on the quality and type of education they receive, as well as on the treatment at home and in the community. These groups IQ range from about 50 to 75. Borderline or low normal group. This is the highest group or mentally retarded with IQs from about 75 to 89, and the members of his classification are only slightly retarded, and they can usually get by in regular classes if they receive some extra help, guidance, and considerations. Child trafficking. Child trafficking is committed by any person who shall engage in trading and dealing with children, including but not limited to the act of buying and selling of a child for money or for any other consideration or a barter. The said person shall suffer the penalty of reclusion temporal to reclusion perpetua. Republic Act 9344 is known as the Juvenile Justice and Welfare Act of 2006. It covers the different stages involving children at risk and children in conflict with the law, from prevention to rehabilitation and reintegration. Bail is defined as the security given from release of the person in the custody of law, furnished by him or her or a bondsman to guarantee his or her appearance before any court. Bail may be given in form of corporate security, property bond, cash deposits, or recognizance. Best interest of the child refers to the totality of the circumstances and conditions which are most congenital to the survival, protection, and feelings of security of the child, and the most encouraging to the child's physical, psychological, and emotional development. And it is also means at least detrimental available alternative for safeguarding the growth and development of the child. Child is refers to a person under 18 years old. Child at risk refers to a child who is vulnerable to and at the risk of committing criminal offenses because of personal, family, and social circumstances. Child in conflict with law refers to a child who is alleged as accused of a judge as having committed an offense under Philippine laws. Community is a base program refers to the programs provided in a community setting developed for the purposes of intervention and diversion, as well as rehabilitation of the child in conflict with the law for reintegration into his or her family and or community. Court is refers to a family court, or in places where there are no family courts, any regional trial court. Deprivation of liberty refers to any form of detention, of imprisonment, or to the placement of the child in conflict with the law in a public or private custodial setting from which the child is conflict with the law and it is not permitted to leave at will by order of any judicial and administrative authority. Diversion refers to alternative child appropriate process of determining the responsibility and treatment of a child in conflict with the law on the basis of his or her social, cultural, and economic, psychological, or educational background without resorting to the formal court proceedings.